Hello, welcome back. Today I'm going to do a short little video here talking about doing a player companion book, similar in the presentation to um, such companion books like Blood of the Night, Blood of the Fiends, Blood of Angels, and that one will be the other one that'll be coming out soon, Blood of the Moon, which will be pretty interesting to check out since it'll supposedly have shifters in there. If you're familiar with those from Eberron, maybe a adaptation of that. So that will be cool to see and implement into the Pathfinder world, particularly with any future games I run. So what I'm going to do today is the Vanara, the um, primate humanoid type um, that was brought to the advanced race guide. I'm going to try and do something like that. What I'm thinking is it's going to be Blood of the Primates player companion, and so just kind of going along with the theme of what's detailed in those books. You know, they give you a host of um, different blooded ancestral types. So what I'm going to present to you now is the ones for the Vanara. In the Advanced Race Guide, it talked about just the basics and such for the standard Vanara, and then there was a alternate racial trait to a Whitecape, which they suggested was some type of baboon creature without the prehensile tail, and it gained like a bonus to CMD and Bull Rush and such. So it didn't really cover all the other types of primates within that order or kingdom. So I kind of wanted to give the variety, just a wealth of choices for that, since there are just so many different unique types out there. So I took some of the more popular ones and made a ancestral stat block for those. So going with the first one, I call this Blackcape. Ancestry is Gorilla. Regions that they could hail from, I'm just going to say Garund for right now. Maybe Mwangi Expanse and such within that continent. And for the ability modifiers, +2 for strength, +2 for con, and -2 for intelligence. They're very strong, very hardy. Maybe ignore logic with dealing with certain situations. So I kind of went with that modifier array. And as far as the alternate racial trait that you would swap out, I would have Cornered Fury in there, and take out the prehensile tail since gorillas do not have that. And for Cornered Fury, I mean, I picked a couple different things and I finally just decided on that. And what it is basically, whenever it's reduced to half its hit points or fewer and has no conscious ally within 30 feet, it gains a +2 racial bonus on melee attacks and to armor class. That's not really presented in any races that I saw, and that's a very unique feature that kind of fit that gorilla type well. Next one is the Whitecape, as was presented in the Advanced Race Guide. I went ahead and changed it a little bit. So the ancestry is they derive from baboons. The regions, Katapesh and Garund. When I did like a wiki search on the baboon, they said they came some sort of descension from Arabian and some other desert area, forest possibly, but looked like there was a dual sort of climate area for that one, so I gave Katapesh and then Garund, so they could be featured in either one. Ability modifiers, +2 to Dex, +2 to Con, and -2 to Charisma. And as far as the alternate racial trait, this specific one does have a pronounced bite. When I did a search on them, they usually sharpen their teeth. They're known for attacking with their savage bite. And then I removed the prehensile tail since they don't have it. So, so far we're going to stay within the standard level, and what they call it in here is the power level. So, the power level for our races, they're all going to be standard. I'm going to keep them all within the same tier, just like we see in the Blood of Fiend, Blood of Night books. Wintercape. This one was really cool for me just because I'm doing Team Zia. I'm running Jade region right now, and to add another Asian sort of themed race would be really excellent. So I went with Wintercape. The ancestry is the Nihanzaru, otherwise known as a snow monkey. Region, Team Zia, of course. Usually have like a whitish kind of tuft of fur, and then they have usually like a red face. Common pictures of them are when they're in some sort of hot bath, natural place to keep warm, even though they do exist in warm climates, somewhat warm, and then of course they do exist around snow-covered grounds for some part of the year. So based on that, ability modifiers, +2 to Con, +2 to Wisdom, and -2 to Intelligence. Basically with that kind of ability array, I was thinking more of the Kappa that I did, where they would probably want to play foolish tricks. So I went with the -2 for Intelligence. They would kind of ignore logic in the pursuit of playful games. Of course, they would still attain some sort of wisdom, and in the Constitution, just because they're hardy for the environmental changes that they have to endure. As far as the alternate racial trait, I went with energy resistance for cold 5, and then I removed the prehensile tail since they don't have it, or if they do, I think it's a very short stub. So, and the next one, I went with Nightcape. This is the Dorcolus, sorry, also otherwise known as the Night Monkey. So, regions it could hail from, I'm going to kind of go with a Ustalav theme on that. Maybe you could have them anywhere else in Avestan. Be kind of a cool concept for maybe a Carrion Crown game, or some sort of horde-based game where you have this sort of nocturnal, maybe predator, stealthy ally, maybe a roguish quality to him. So ability score modifiers, +2 to Dex, +2 to Intelligence, and then -2 to Wisdom. And the alternate racial trait for that would be Dark Vision. I believe that when I did the search on these to determine what sort of qualities each particular type had, what I can remember, they said that this one, the Night Monkey, was the one that could actually see completely well in the dark. Nocturnal vision. So I went with this one for Dark Vision, and they do have the tail still. So based on that, it's still within 10 points. It's actually 10 points, so you're still within the standard power level for the race. Next one, Orange Cape. The ancestry on that would be the orangutan. Regions, Tianzia. It's a Asian ape. That's where it primarily hails from. Its origins. So another great choice for that sort of area. They go with the snow monkey. So now you got the monkey version, now you have an ape version. So ability score modifiers. +2 to strength, because they are ape. +2 to intelligence, and then -2 to charisma. The intelligence boost there is because, from what I read, they're one of the most intelligent apes and monkeys, I believe, as well. Or among the apes and monkeys and such, as far as trying to base a intelligence level, this one's at the top, the very top. So, going with that one. And alternate racial trait, curiosity. So one I went with for 4 racial points. And I was trying to kind of define its sort of intelligence through such things as like skills. So with curiosity, they are very naturally inquisitive about the world around them. They get a +4 bonus on diplomacy checks to gather information, and knowledge history and knowledge local become class skills for them. If they choose a class that either has a knowledge skill as class skills, they gain a +2 racial bonus on those skills instead. So I really wanted to give them the advanced intelligence, but you can't pick anything that would be under the advanced traits for a standard power level. I momentarily forgot that and started adding some really cool things on there, like Frenzy, which was a advanced trait as well, so I had to kind of restructure this again. So curiosity was the closest thing I could find to trying to convey their logic. So it doesn't really help that I put a -2 to their charisma, though, given the fact that where the heck did I just change the page? Given the fact that they would have to use some of these skills. But I don't think there'll be a problem, really. So, next one, Howlin' Cape. Ancestry would be the Howler Monkey. And regions, Garund. You can choose other places if you want. Ability score modifier, +2 to Con, +2 to Charisma, and -2 to Intelligence. When we get to some more of the monkeys here, they are listed as having a smaller brain. Their intelligence is a bit lower compared to the other species and such, so I went with that. And as far as the alternate racial trait, I chose the booming voice. It was something that was part of the Durhi, the flying ape, that is featured in Bestiary 3. Also featured in Serpent Skull later on. They have a cool little ability there where they can use its own voice as a signal. The sound can be heard up to 12 miles away as a thrumming in the air that conveys 20 words of information in 5 minutes. So I went with that. I gave it a weighted cost of 1 racial point. It could probably be 2, but either way, you're still at a total of 10. 9 or 10, so you're still within the power level requirements for this type. Since they're howling, they're making so much different types of noises, why not have it be something intelligent with just the way it would talk to others out there. So the booming voice made a lot of sense to me to use, since they just never shut the hell up. And next one is Spider Cape. Ancestry Spider Monkey. Regions, Garund, or anywhere else you can think of. Ability score modifiers, +2 to Dex, +2 to Wisdom, and -2 to Intelligence. Spider monkeys are known for having longer limbs, and their fingers are really good for the grappling of limbs and such, and then their tails also can be used as a fifth limb to grapple and swing and stride from tree to tree. So based on that, I had to go with the movement section. And I went with Sprinter. Members of this race gain a 10-foot racial bonus to their speed when using the charge, run, or withdraw actions. And then I also added on terrain stride. So they get to choose a favored terrain type, and they can move through natural difficult terrain at their normal speed while within the chosen terrain. Magically altered terrain affects them normally. So, of course, forest would be their natural favored terrain. And that was a point of, or a racial cost of 1 point. So, again, we're at 10. We didn't go over, so we're good on that. And then lastly, I went with the Ringed Cape. Ancestry, the ring-tailed lemur. Regions, Garund. Ability score modifiers, +2 to Dex, +2 to Charisma, and -2 to Intelligence. The Dex, because they are fast, they have a great jumping or leaping ability. The Charisma, from what I read about them, is that they tend to huddle and get close to other lemurs of their type, to try and stay warm and such. So I imagine the Charisma to attract and such, the sociable skills that they would have. And the -2 for Intelligence, being that they are smaller in stature with their brain and functions and such compared to the other ones on there. And then the alternate racial trait, because of their tremendous leaping ability, I went with Jumper. So it has a +2 racial bonus. Okay, that's a requirement, which I do have for the dexterity. But the benefit would be that they are always considered to have a run and start when making acrobatics checks to jump. So right there, that's perfect. And I removed the prehensile tail. Even though they do have a long tail, it is not prehensile. So you can take the weight off of that, even though it is there. And you can acknowledge it's a long tail, but the functionality of it does not work in that way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 8 different types on there. So this way you can, there's a specific theme for the type of Vanara that you want. I mean, I got quite a few options here for you, unless there's something very, very specific that you're looking for. I already gave you sort of a guide on how to create those, the kind of formula or format on how to do it. Just, do some research with the wiki or whatever other source you have, National Geographic or YouTube or whatever, facts. I had to look at a lot of facts just because I kept getting confused because so many different types, and I had to go with defining characteristics that I could use for abilities that reflected that. So, and then I did go ahead and I created a race builder stat for two of the ones that I kept talking about in a few videos back. How I wanted to do the flying ape, and then the other one that was featured in Serpent Skull. Later on, you get to the Ape King or whatever. There's these different parts in there where you find out the primates are very territorial. They dominate this one area, so you'll run into these quite a bit. You can even take one of these right away if you're going to play Serpent Skull. Right when the PCs start, where they're shipwrecked, marooned, or whatever on that island. You could have one of the PCs actually not be with the ship, but maybe from that island, and a inhabitant who maybe was exiled or for whatever other reason just there, and you can, it could be somewhat of a guide, or maybe just as lost as they are, so, or maybe it was with the ship, so based on being captured from around the area. So you have a couple options there for this, or if you're going to use Skull and Shackles, you can have one of these in there, or whatever game that you feel these would suit best. Or you have a player that kind of wants this, and you want to have more of that optional leverage there. So there's this one type, Charuka, if I'm saying that right. You can find them on the SRD if you don't have the AP, where they have the stats for them in. They're limber, shrieking creatures that have the visage of an enraged monkey, but it walks upright like a man. They speak Abyssal in Polyglot. They're widespread race of the Mwangi Expanse. Some, but not all, serve the Gorilla King or worship Angazan. Others return to worship the other demon lords, or even the snake god Eurydice. So you can see that these are quite evil. Their alignment is chaotic evil, but maybe the one that, if you choose to use one of these, it's an exile, or as you would see in some of the traits they have. Once in a while you get something that's good, either a drow, hobgoblin and such. Kobold, it's a real common, rare sort of a thing there. So I went through and kind of looked at the bestiary stats, and then appropriately found a way to build those using the race builder, just taking ones that actually matched based on those stats, and really you can find pretty much you can find everything in here based on those stats. You don't have to homebrew it and anything really, except for the Shrieking Frenzy ability that they have. So, kind of without wasting any more time here, the Charuka is a humanoid, not a monstrous humanoid. So it has a 0 cost there. Size, they're small, unlike the Vanaras, who are medium. Base speed, they're normal speed. The ability score modifiers, I want specialized. +2 to strength, +2 to con, and -2 for intelligence. So that's a 1 point racial point cost. Languages, standard. Of course, you want them to have the abyssal, which could be common in their side of the world. And then the polyglot. Or you have it switched around if you want. Feat and skill racial traits. I went with the static bonus feat. That is listed, where you can get a free feat with the cost, of course, of 2 points. And it was the throw anything feat. It's actually a combat feat. Features on here where you don't suffer any penalties for using an improvised ranged weapon. You receive a +1 circumstance bonus on attack rolls made with thrown splash weapons. Normally it would be a -4 penalty for attack rolls made with improvised weapons. So that is one that's actually listed in their stats, so I threw that in there. And senses, racial traits, sense racial traits. No, I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. Sorry about that. Okay, movement racial traits. Climb, they have a climb speed. And offense racial traits, one with bite, since that's what they do. The next one, Shriek and Frenzy, like I just previously mentioned here. Let me get to that real quick to explain that. Once per day, Sharu Ka can enter a state of Shriek and Frenzy as a free action. While in this state, the Sharu Ka automatically fails stealth checks and cannot speak or cast spells that use verbal components, or use items that require command words to activate, but function as if under the effects of a haste spell during this time. The Sharu Ka can continue shrieking up to 3 rounds, after which it is staggered for 1 round. So, I mean, the haste is nice, but, you know, there is a penalty to all that, depending on what your character may want to do. If the determine on how combat changes, you know, you never know. That's going to be a good time to use that. So that's a weighted cost of 2. Homebrew, since it's not listed in the book. Sense racial traits, I went with Dark Vision, since it's listed in their stats. That's a weight of 2. Low Light Vision, that's a weight of 1. And then they do have the Scent ability on there as well, and that's 4 racial points. So that gives you a total of 15. If you didn't want Scent, you could go with Carrion Sense. I think that's like 2 or something, so if you want to just bring down the cost a little bit, if you don't like the Scent part of it, if you feel it may be overpowered for the other players in your group who may be playing just standard power level, because this one is a advanced power level, so you just have to make that determination if that's something that you want to do. And now the other one. This is kind of the last part of it here. The Durhi. Sorry for not pronouncing that as usual. But I'll show you a picture. What it is. It's this flying ape. Thought that was pretty badass. I've been wanting to stat this up for a while. But of course there's CR5, so it's a very powerful build. I didn't stat it up exactly as it was presented in the bestiary stats. I mean, I did that for the Sharu Ka thing, but because that was just a CR2. But this is a CR5, and I didn't want the racial points that high. I think putting everything in there exactly how it should be, I think you're looking at over 30 points. So I was a little uncomfortable with that. I don't like power levels too high. Well, really, it just depends on what the rest of your players are going to play. I mean, if you're okay with it, cool, or if everyone else is not going to get upset about it. But even though you were to do something if the unique situation came up where one player was using this really powerful race point, whatever power level costs, and everyone else was using a lower set. The race builder section in the advanced race guide, that has a table on there that kind of lists like what your group CR thing will be, like your encounter level thing, so you can appropriately match up other CRs accordingly, so you know what the challenge rating would be, whether it be difficult or easy or whatever, challenging or something. So also, this is a large, monstrous humanoid. When you start building these, you're going to come into an issue. You're going to hit that wall where you have to make that decision whether you want to allow large races as PCs, or do you want them to just be primarily medium, and anything lower than that maybe small. Probably not tiny or anything like that, but small and medium. So you just have to make that determination on if you want to kind of go up in that. I mean, with large, you got possibly that reach 10 feet, given things like dungeons and such, and close quarter combat. It can be pretty brutal when you have large creatures there, given spells and the weapons and the armor and damage codes. I mean, it's not that bad. There's like instead of doing 1d6, now you do 2d6 for the damage code or something like that. So I mean, there's just some considerations you have to decide upon, just so that you don't kind of get ahead of it, allow it, and then find out that you kind of are uncomfortable with it, and then decide whether you're going to kind of take that away from your players and deal with the drama that may ensue from that. So if you want, you can go with large. There is a requirement for being large. You have to be like some sort of giant subtype or something like that. So you either decide to do large, or you can go with something that I'm still kind of debating on. It's something I saw in 3.5 called Powerful Build. You can see that people talk about it once in a while on the Paizo forums, just kind of asking for what would the right way to cost, if anyone's doing this, if the developers will respond to this and make a clarification or whatever. It's not in the Pathfinder books, but what this is, it's presented as a feat cost, where your physical stature lets you function in many ways as if you were one size category larger. Whenever you are subject to a size modifier or special size modifier for an opposed check, such as during grapple checks, bull rush attempts, and trip attempts, you are treated as one size larger if doing so is advantageous to you. You are also considered to be one size larger when determining whether a creature's special attacks based on size, such as improved grab or swallow whole, can affect you. You can use weapons designed for a creature one size larger without penalty. However, your space and reach remain those of a creature of your actual size. That's a very important thing right there. The benefits of this feat stack with effects of powers, abilities, and spells that change the subject's size category. So that's a lot to take in there, a lot to consider. It bothers me a little bit, I won't lie. I made a -2 penalty when wielding one size larger category for weapons. I wanted something of more of a sort of cost for that. I still haven't made a sort of... I haven't closed the book on this yet as far as what I want to do, how I want to present it, and if it's going to be allowed. I'm kind of stuck right there for now, so trying to get more feedback from other people, even any of you out there in the community, as far as how you feel about this with the powerful build, if you choose to allow that in a race builder section of your race builds. So yeah, so you can choose to use that or just use the large size. Now let's say if you were going to use the powerful build, I would give it a weighted cost of 3. Large size normally is a weight of 7 points, so this powerful build would be a homebrew feature. So moving on from that, base speed would be normal, ability score modifier standard, +2 to strength, +2 to con, -2 to intelligence. Kind of like that gorilla that we featured in the very start of this. So that would be 2 racial. No, it wouldn't be 0. What am I doing here? Okay. Languages standard. And what would they speak? Aran and Common. So there you go, right there. The defense racial traits will go with natural armor for a weight of 2. That way they get at least 1 point in natural armor. Movement racial traits, climb. That has a cost of 2, and then you'd give them flight, a cost of 4. So I believe flight would be 30 feet of flying with clumsy maneuverability, even though the Durhi is listed as a fly of 60 with poor. I just didn't want to put any more points into that, trying to keep the cost down. Offense racial traits, I went with natural attack for slam, that's 1 racial point cost. And then aerial charge is the next one under offense. It's a homebrew because it's not listed in the race builder section. So cost of 2 that I put onto it. And what is it? Listed under the flying ape stats. When airborne, they can dive at twice its normal flying speed. This is the equivalent of a charge, granting a +2 bonus on the attack roll and a -2 penalty to AC. So you can choose to allow that or not. I did. Senses racial traits. Dark vision, there's no cost for that since it's a monstrous humanoid. Then there would be scent for the cost of 4. They do have the scent ability. If you don't like the scent ability, you can replace that with carrying scents. So that's it. So if I were to add these up, I'm thinking it's going to be 21 points here. 6. Let me see here. 36. $21. Okay, that's not a bad cost there. 21. And I think when I did this before, yeah, it was over 30 points there. So it's a lot better than what it was. But of course, if you want to directly represent the bestiary stats, you can do that as well. So yeah, that's all I got for the Blood of Primates player companion book. I think the real gem of it all is the ancestral types that you can select. So I hope this was insightful and helps you out and whatever. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. I got a lot of stuff planned, but also got a lot of stuff to do with my game still, so probably get back to map tools and start getting that stuff underway. So thank you for your time. Any questions, comments, please let me know. I would really like to hear what you think about Powerful Build. If you have any insight on that, on how you would do it or not do it, or abolish it completely, and then would you go with large? So, lots of things to think about there. Yeah. But if anything, you can use the Vanara list of the different types of heritages and such, so you can escape kind of going with those powerful, advanced and monstrous builds there. So, thanks for your time. See ya.